So over the past week, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy has been trending heavily online again, and it's gotten to the point where people in New York City have even started hosting Carolyn Bessette and John F. Kennedy lookalike competition, where crowds show up dressed like them and judges pick the couple who resembles them the most. And this just shows you how Americans are. They take a small trend and then blow it up, and then it's gotten to this point. But low-key, if I was in New York City right now, I would probably have attended just to look at these people and see what they actually are doing. Part of me is like a little bit interested in what people would actually show up like, and there's like clips of it online, but still like being present in the moment and seeing, looking around how excited people are about this trend that they don't even quite get is funny. But also on the other hand, it kind of proves the point, like, because what we are seeing online right now isn't really about understanding Carolyn Bessette, it's about turning her into an aesthetic. And the problem with that is that Carolyn's style wasn't aesthetic you could just simply recreate. It came from who she actually was. Before she ever became the wife of John F. Kennedy, Carolyn Bessette was already deeply embedded in the fashion world. She worked at Calvin Klein, where she developed a very clear understanding of proportion, tailoring, and restraint. But describing her style as simply minimalist is actually an oversimplification, because Carolyn wasn't just wearing minimal basics, she was also one of the earliest Western adopters of the work of Gucci. And she didn't just buy one piece here and there, she would wear multiple looks from the same collection, sometimes so frequently that people joked it looked like it was the only place she shopped at. Which tells you something really important: she wasn't following trends, she was following designers she believed in. That's where her style becomes interesting, because when you marry into the Kennedy family, there's a very clear visual language already established, and people expect her to dress like Jacqueline Kennedy. Polished suits, pearls, the traditional American political aesthetic, we have all seen it, is still present to this day, and she could have easily gone that route, but instead she did something very different. She leaned into avant-garde minimalism. Black coats, unstructured silhouettes, quiet, architectural pieces. It was minimal, but it was also subversive in that environment, and that's something a lot of people online seem to miss. One of the most common criticisms I see right now is that her style was boring. Respectfully, that criticism usually comes from people who do not actually understand fashion, because fashion doesn't need to scream in order to be interesting. There's a kind of elegance and restraint, and Carolyn understood that perfectly. Another reason people misunderstand her style is because they keep using the same paparazzi photos as references. You know, the ones like at the airport, walking the dog, running errands in New York City, on a bike, and those are like off-duty looks. And that's what she wore to the grocery store. And somehow even those outfits still look better than what most people are wearing today. But there's something else happening online right now that I find even stranger. People are trying to imagine what Carolyn Bessette would be like if she were alive in 2026. And suddenly, like, everyone is saying she would be like a clean girl, a Pilates girl. And Pilates existed back then and she didn't do Pilates. So I don't understand why people would think she would do Pilates today. And also like match in the morning, perfect slick back bun, minimal apartment, Glossier skincare. But if you could actually look at who she was, that interpretation makes absolutely no sense. Carolyn's hair was often messy. Her apartment wasn't perfectly curated. She smoked cigarettes. She was known to be intense, private, and incredibly driven. She wasn't performing an aesthetic. She was just living her life, which is exactly why her style still resonates today, because it didn't feel manufactured, it felt real. And that authenticity is also why comparing her to fictional characters like Carrie Bradshaw doesn't work. Carrie is a character built around fashion and relationships. And another thing about Carolyn Bessette is that she would never chase a man. Men didn't come on the forefront. Actually, Carolyn dated models that were on billboards. And the fact that her husband had to chase her to actually make her date him to begin with is also like completely different from what we have seen of Carrie and Big. There's no similarities when it comes to those two, when it comes to like men at all. And Carolyn Bessette was also like a real person who understood both fashion and herself. And she didn't just dress for trends, she dressed for the life that she actually lived. And that's probably the most important takeaway from all of this, is where if there's anything people should learn from Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, it's not which coat she wore, it's like more that her style worked because it was completely her own. Not an aesthetic, not a trend, just authenticity. And that's something that you cannot really recreate with a Pinterest board. You need that authenticity part. That's so important.